What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back with a match preview, big match preview for a huge game in which I'll be clear from the start, nothing less than 3 points will do tomorrow. But look, we'll get into all of that. Daniel Farke has spoken today. He spoke about Patrick Bamford, and I think we should talk about that a little bit too. So I want to get into that. Before I get into it, please hit a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and of course, drop your comments and score predictions in the comments below. Thank you to Karen Curtin for the super thanks on the last video. Much appreciated. If you want to become a member, memberships are in the description. Help me out, help the channel out. Much appreciated, people. Gordon here. Hi, KG. Great to catch you live. We have to hit the ground running in this fixture. For whatever reason, we are slow starters here. The slow starts have been something of a concern. It just seems like we take 20, 25 minutes to warm up, and it's kind of gone from the opposite of when we was last in the Prem, where we'd be all right for the first 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden it all just capitulates. So that is something that we need to do, especially at home against Huddersfield. We know they're going to be up for it. Their fans are going to be up for it. Daniel Farke alluded to that today, something that I've said on here many times before. We are everybody's big game. It is true. And it sounds arrogant. I know it does, but it's true. When people turn up to play Leeds United, they want that win even more. Isaac, shout out to you, Isaac. Big ups, KG. Early morning in the US. Yeah, it's quite early here too. Yeah. Bob's saying afternoon, KG should be comfortable win tomorrow. Hopefully get an early goal too. Yeah, Bob's. I've got to be honest. I don't see anything but a win tomorrow. I'm gonna go through Huddersfield's team in a bit, but there is nothing at all that concerns me in that team. I'm sorry. That it's as championship as it gets. Their league position, their form. Look, we should be winning this game tomorrow. If we have any aspirations of getting into that top two, it's got to be 3 points tomorrow. I don't want to hear about a good point tomorrow, and a loss is just unthinkable at this point. Mike Adams is saying, wonder what the reception for number 9 will be. It will be good. It always is, Mike. And I wouldn't, tell people to not give him a good reception. What I wouldn't do is tell people to boo him, because that it does nobody any favors. No matter what you think of the guy, and you guys know how I feel about him. I think he shouldn't be here. But I said that 3 years ago. I'm not late on the train. I knew that this kind of thing was coming. I didn't know it was going to be this bad, but he was never it. He was never the guy. And I don't encourage booing him. I don't, but why sing his song? Like, just don't, because it gives out the thing of, if it's like if your kid's naughty or something like that, but yet you keep on giving them treats, they're not going to learn a lesson, are they? So the more that you keep on singing that Patrick Bamford song, he's probably thinking, nah, yeah, no problem. They still back me. No worries at all. And I do get the feeling, you get the feeling with Patrick Bamford's aura, his demeanor, his ego. The guy really does think he's Cristiano Ronaldo when he's nowhere near. But just hopefully he doesn't see the pitch tomorrow. That's the best hope that I can have. John B saying the Terriers don't concern me. Yeah. Karen asking who would be your penalty takers. Well, Daniel Farke said it's Joel Piroe, but if Joel Piroe's on the pitch for 90 minutes, then he takes them. But we're gonna see. I did mention this in the match reaction. I hope we're not going to keep on seeing Joel Piroe, because he's being asked to play a different role. And I mentioned it in the match reaction. There was times where he was on the halfway line when we was attacking. That's not Joel Piroe. That's the manager's instruction. Just like when Bielsa had Rodrigo running around like a headless chicken in the center of midfield, that's manager's instruction. So I hope that it's not always going to be the case of, if Joel Piroe hasn't scored in 65 minutes, then he's coming off. That's just not going to do him or us any good. Yeah, Bob saying in regards to Bamford, done nothing for 3 years. Fans still live off that first year back. Yeah, I always notice with the Patrick Bamford fans, and they are like, I do believe that they're more Bamford fans than Leeds fans at this point. That they all look like they wish that they were like on Patrick Bamford's class level kind of thing, because there's just no other reason in terms of supporting this guy. There really isn't. He's literally become a hindrance. When he's on the pitch, he's become a hindrance to Leeds United. He doesn't do anything good. People keep talking about the hold-up play. The hold-up play disappeared in the Prem. It went in the Prem. I've spoken enough about him. I've just had enough. And it was even before the penalty, and it's quite funny because when they were warming up, and I saw Somerville warming up, I saw who else came on. Dan James warming up. I was like, yeah. And then Patrick Bamford was in third in a row. I was like, oh, That's how he makes me feel. And whether people like that or not, that's how he makes me feel. I don't feel anything positive towards the guy, but I also don't believe that you should be overly negative to him in terms of if you see him in person in the crowd, booing him, because that's going to do no one any good. Damar here saying, yeah, also you can see players around Bamford don't trust him, i.e. James and of course Joe Roden. A lot of people did pick up on the Joe Roden thing as well. Yeah, you could see no one, people know. And I do want to get into this now because I don't want this to go too long. Damar, that's been a problem for ages. Daisy cutters. But Daniel Farke said this after the game, but he also repeated a line in today's press conference in regards to Bamford being off penalties. And just to read this bit, and this is via Phil Hay, of course, his article. Farke said he planned to speak to Bamford today and could see that in light of the forward's other misses, leaving him on penalties was a risk with prior criticism potentially in his head. And this was the line that got me, people. Under my regime, it was his first miss. Now, you see that line. I had a real extreme example, but I'm going to try and make it a bit lighter. But that is like saying somebody gets with somebody new and they've been a thief in the previous two relationships, and now they're in a third one, and that person then steals off them, and then that person says, well, you know what, this is the first time he's ever stolen from me. The form is there, people. You shouldn't need it to be under your regime that it's your first miss. I think that's really poor, and especially when you consider his overall record before that penalty, it's bad. When you miss half of your penalties, that's a bad record. A good record is when you can say convert 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Excellent record is obviously 9 and 10. That's a poor record, and he should have known that from the start. I don't know why he thought his coaching at this age where Bamford is 30 plus was going to make a difference. This isn't a young teen you can mold or give creative advice, especially in Bamford's head where he thinks that he's Lionel Messi. So yeah. Robbie here, Farke clutching at straws to support Bamford, and I get that you have to back your guys publicly. But then this is the other bit, and it goes again. Oh man, right now after he missed it is probably for the next game a different player will take one, which is good to hear. That is the thing that I wanted to see, because we haven't seen that in previous managers in the Prem, especially. They were all subservient to these players, which is a bad way to start the relationship. But this is the bit as well, people. Um, Maybe he wanted it too much to prove the doubters wrong, that he can take penalties, but he doesn't have to prove anyone wrong. He scored many penalties, but if you're on such a run, it is perhaps the right decision next time to let a different player take the penalty. Otherwise, the pressure is mounting even more. Well, first of all, in regards to the pressure, that's self-created. That's his own, that's him self-creating that pressure. First of all, by thinking that he's Erling Haaland or something like that. But then to keep putting himself in these positions where all week I've had the messages about Bamford this week have been incredible. Like some people were losing sleep over the penalty miss because they just knew what was coming, and he is becoming a handicap to this club. He really is. I mean, he has, he's a big reason, not the only reason. Let me get that clear. He's a big reason why we didn't stay up. A half competent striker converts half of those chances he had, and it's continuing into the lower league where his fans thought, yeah, it's championship. He's done it before. Well, he didn't really, did he? He really didn't. But Paul here saying sick of Bamford, should have moved on in summer 2022 when we stayed up, becoming toxic. It's becoming real toxic, Paul. And that's why I'm trying not to be, pile on, but you created this yourself. You know what I mean? But the thing is, back into this quote, it's the first bit. And this is where me, I don't do the whole side before self thing. I think it's a outdated mantra, which it doesn't resonate in 2023, I'm afraid. But this is a perfect example of that. This is not side before self. This is this guy trying to get his moment so he can say, I'm the big man here, probably cup his ears one more time or put his fingers in his ears or some dumb stuff like that. And he put that over the needs of the team. When you rewatch that penalty, people, I don't know how you feel, but it makes my head hot. It wasn't even close. The keeper was down here on the other side, and he's put the ball. It's just poor. It's just poor, and that kind of attitude. That's Patrick Bamford in a nutshell for me. There's always certain kind of players that get accused of being selfish or anything else like that. He's one of the most selfish players I've ever seen at this football club. I can't think of many more. I can't think of many more. Maybe Russ McCormack on a much lesser scale when we was that crap and he felt like he was the Messi of the team. But Bamford is so selfish, man, and he always has been. Even back in the Prem where we needed a striker to stay up, and Jesse Marsh is saying the guy is fit, but we need to speak to him and his agent to see if he's going to play. No one does that, but it always gets swept under the rug because it's good old nice Patrick, but he's not. He's not. He's very, very selfish. And I don't mind that when you've got a level like Cristiano Ronaldo or something like that, but you've got to be tippy top. And he is now, and he's never been. But yeah, yeah. Yeah, flying fish. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just to ease off this subject, because even now I hate speaking about this. I don't hate a lot of things, but I hate speaking about these players that should just not be at this football club, man. It's so triggering, man. It's so you got PTSD from these guys, man. Flying fish just saying, notice it's all about Bamford and not what's best for Leeds. Exactly. Nicely done. Um, Darren here saying that's why I was furious. I wouldn't be angry at all if the keeper makes a great save, but to insist taking a penalty in Sky like that, he's a clown. That's it, Darren. That you miss penalties. People miss penalties all the time. It's just like the own goal with Pascal. That happens. Now, if Patrick's penalty was saved by the keeper, yeah, okay, cool. But it was so poor at a time where we needed the 3 points. We've been here before. It just was not good enough. It was terrible. As people said, it was more like a rugby kick, rugby kick than a football, than a penalty shot. Um, Tomar, I'd rather they just pluck a fan out the away end to take it. Tremendous. But yeah, um, and then yeah, Gary here is good to see you, KG. Press the like, everyone. Yeah, please hit the like button, people. Thank you very much. There wasn't too much from the press conference, although Daniel Farke at times did speak like a like a football YouTuber. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it because he was talking about in hypotheticals. If Patrick scores, then he's a hero, which is another thing I have a problem with because he said it twice. I let it go the first time, but then he said it again today. It's not time for heroes. But anyway, he was talking about if the game went right and the substitutions had worked, then everyone would be saying it was great game management and everything else like that. I don't know, Daniel Farke, I think he might watch some YouTube channels. I don't know, he sounded very YouTubey today. Uh, Random guy saying, should be Joseph coming on a sub when he's fit again. He is fit. He played in midweek for the under 21s and he was brilliant. He was excellent, but he wasn't asked about that today. They asked more about leadership again, and which Daniel Farke is getting bored of. I could tell because he said, "Yeah, I've already spoken about this in the recent press conference," so he's not interested in talking about that again. But yeah, no one talked about Mateo Joseph again today. They're more interested in pushing the leadership group here, which is, they've known them for. I guess they know maybe they've got some personal relationships with them being here so long. But yeah, they didn't ask about Mateo Joseph. Um, John Knox saying it would be better if our club just released Bamford, Ailing, Cooper. They are massive liabilities. I know some people was talking about that in saying about releasing Bamford, but obviously we all know that it's not that easy. You don't just release a player. You've got to, if you're going to cancel their contract, you've got to pay them up. But I do think at this stage we got to look into something like that in January because he's not going Saudi Arabia. I think it's pretty clear Patrick Bamford is not going Saudi Arabia. So I would be interested to see what we could do in January, whether we have to send him out on loan or try and cancel the deal just to get him off the books, just so he's not an option anymore. It's just sickening to me that he's here. Honestly, it really is. And before any of his fans try and criticize that, we've had Mark Viduka here. We've had Robbie Keane here. We've had Robbie Fowler here in my time of supporting this club. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, real shooters. So before you come here with any Bamford defense, go and check those guys out first. You know what I mean? Bruce is saying here, to be honest, Kate, just watch Farke Press and the questions were woeful. I know, Bruce. As I said previously on other previews, if I don't know, I might have to try and find another way of just doing it because they are starting to get a little bit tedious. If I'm being honest, I'm with you, Bruce. They're very hard to watch when the questions. I mean, another one of the questions today was, uh, do you interact with fans? Like, do you see them in the supermarket and stuff? I mean, what? What are we doing here, man? Like, oh man, Lord have mercy. And he does, Gordon. Yep, 2026. He's got 3 years left. That's what I'm saying. It's not an easy contract to get out of, but I would hope that they try and get out of it. And hopefully Bamford as well wants to get out of it too. Just go and start somewhere else, please. Have a fresh start. Maybe it will do you good, maybe, Patrick. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, and yeah, Demar, yeah, I hear you. Repetitive and boring. I know. They are tough to get through. But listen, let's just get through some of the team news. No fresh in. Oh, am I sharing that one? I am. Yep. No fresh injury worries. Late call to check on Byram if he can manage to do 3 games in a week. Somerville's shoulder is fine. There are a few bumps and bruises, and there is still no Dallas Fopo and Spence. I did like that with one of the journals. They did try and get a time frame for Jed Spence, because I think everyone knows that's a key area. It'd be interested to see if Archie Gray starts at right back again. I'm not opposed to trying something different next. I think Archie's had a tough couple of games in that position. It hasn't been as free flowing as it was in the game before the international break. But this is going to be a different test as well. We're at home. We're against a not very skillful Huddersfield Town team. We're going to have a majority of the ball, so maybe it will work in this game more so than Stoke away. Yeah, Bobs, I'm not going to say. Oh man. John here though. Leicester and Ipswich will drop points. Just hope we pick points up. I mean, we have to do our job first, John. We're going into that territory now, John, and everyone else, where we have to look after our own house. We have to make sure that we get the 3 points. And that is a perfect opportunity against Stoke, where you're not playing well. You probably don't deserve the 3 points, but because of the quality that you do possess, you get that 3 points in the end. And that's what that quality was with Jorginho's skill. That lovely play to play through Bamford in the first place was beautiful. And that got taken away with all the penalty drama. But that was such a lovely piece of play. But that's what we've got in this team. It's just that there's some people that have set us back. But that's how you come away with Stoke with a 1-0 win, 3 points, and you move on to this game and keep the momentum rolling. Now we have to start it again. Um, let's have a look. Yeah, Bob's. This was the game we should have changed the team around and not Stoke. And it's funny. I was speaking to a player who's scored in 3 games in a row before and then got benched by his manager, and he said it just killed his momentum. It killed his momentum where even if he had a slight niggle, like Somerville apparently had, he would play through it, because when you're on a hot streak like that, you just want to continue playing. Unless you got something broken, as he said, unless something was broken in half or his ligament was snapped off, he would just wanted to play, and it just killed his momentum. And he came on a sub for like the last 10 minutes of a game. Um, and didn't do nothing in that 10 minutes. It was hard to get into the rhythm. And then he just went a little cold. And that's what I mean. That's why I'm saying we should have kept Somerville in this game. It was quite clear that he could have probably played that game. If you needed to sub him off after 65 minutes, cool. But I think we'd have been a better position if Somerville had started, because he's on fire. He's absolutely on fire. Um, Gavin here saying we can forget the Foxes, long gone now. We need to worry about Middlesbrough and Southampton. We need to worry about ourselves first, Gavin. Let's get the 3 points, yeah. Because I tell you what's interesting, and I don't know if anyone else has peeped this. Yeah, here's the table. Let me just get this off. Um, John, we lose tomorrow, and I'm deleting Facebook, and we'll probably need a new TV. Oh Lord, don't take it out on your TV, man. Stay strong, stay strong. But look, we are in third place, which it looks nice, doesn't it? It looks cool. It looks nice and everything. Obviously, this would be a lot better. Of course, look at that consistency. That's what we need to strive for. But instead, we got 2 reds here. But look at this. We're third place with 22 points, but we're actually only 3 points off 11th. That's what this league. This league, it's the pit as well. I can't stand the championship. We're in third place. but we are literally 3 points away from 11th place. It's such a false position. You need to be in those top two positions in all honesty. But yeah. Oh man. Anyway, listen, let me just show you through Huddersfield's team very quickly, because this is, is this even football? Lee Nichols, he's been around. Chris Maxwell's been around. Um, yeah, they got these people here. I mean, Jesus wept. Tom Lees is here still. Remember him? Good old Tom Lees. He's here. Jonathan Hogg, who's always good for a card or a red card. So I don't know if he's still playing. Karoma, he's a decent player. He is decent. I'll give him that. I'm sorry, man. Look, this team, Lord have mercy. I mean, he's out on loan, so no worries about that. Danny Ward, he's been a thorn in our side previously. Come on, guys. Hudlin, it's the pits. It's the absolute pits, man. And they are in currently 21st place. All right. So one win in the last five. There is no reason for us. I don't care about the local derby stuff. There will be more passion. There'll be more probably fight or whatever it may be. But we should have more quality to beat this team. I'm not having any of this in terms of Huddersfield being a tough game because of a derby. No, we've got way more quality on the pitch. We've got better options to bring in. Um, Bobs, let's get into it here, Demar. Hey, Demar, we could be cursing this right now, but I'm just being honest. I'm just being real with you. We're gonna have games like this in the championship where there are teams where it is just meat and potatoes football, but we should still be better than them. Let's get into score predictions, people. I'm with it. Let's just go with it. State of that team 4-0 minimum. Everyone's saying, who are these guys? It is. It's the pits. I'm going game by game. I really am, John. I'm just trying to get through it. But I don't enjoy championship football, and I don't see how you do, honestly. And for the people saying it's better because we're winning games, when we next get back up to the Prem under the 49ers, we've spent this kind of money in the champ. We'll spend even better money in the Prem on better players. I'm confident of that. I just want to get through this league, man. I'm telling you. John saying, is there cup final though? I know, but cup finals, an upset is an upset because it's an upset. Usually the favorites win it, and that's how we've got to act like this tomorrow. Gavin here saying 2-1. Jamie saying 2-1 Leeds. John 25-0, tremendous. Damar saying a 3-1 win. Karen's going for a 2-0 win. Yep. Robbie, I would agree. If we don't win, there's a problem. Yep. Because I do feel that we should be giving some of these teams a hiding with the attacking talent we've had. We haven't done it yet. I do think it's coming, but I would have expected it to happen in a couple of these games. But we'll see. We'll see. Darren is saying just win. I don't care about the score. We need the points. Yep. John B saying 3-1 Leeds. Oh, Bobby. Leeds no Huddersfield 1. Can you imagine that? Oh Lord, I don't even want to think about that. I'm going for a cool 3-0 win. I've got no doubts about that. The team needs to bounce back. They will want to put everything right. Ellen Road has been our fortress. No one's beaten us there yet. We look real good at home. If there's anything that's why I don't really have many concerns too much about the team put out. Well, unless there's certain players out there, which we'll go into tomorrow if they do turn up. But I have no problem seeing Archie Gray out there again. Glenn Kamara could possibly come back in here for a bit more midfield energy. I don't think maybe Gruev should be in this one. Maybe him sit back out again. Sam Byram, if he's fit to go, yep, keep him in there, because even though he probably wasn't great against Stoke, in the games where we're on the front foot at home, he's been good. He's been more than good. So I would be okay with Byron playing in this game too. Gavin here saying Farke is the problem. McKenna showing him up big time. Yeah, I know. I've had a few messages actually about Daniel Farke, which is you think it's a bit mad, but I do understand where people are coming from in terms of maybe being a bit stubborn. Maybe not taking responsibility at times as well when things go wrong, and having a big old explanation. I mean, he had a big explanation today for the Bamford taking a penalty thing. I'll be honest, I tuned out halfway through, so I can't really go into it, and that probably tells you a story. So Yeah, I do understand the criticism. I mean, even long time subscriber of mine, Rebecca's talking about him not coming off as confident but more arrogant. I will say it's confident if we go up. If we fail, then it is arrogance. That's how thin the line is between confidence and arrogance. Um, yeah, Gavin, yeah, scraping wins. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We should be putting the attacking talent that we've got against, and you saw some of the names in that. We should be running rings around some of these players. We should be, and we should be converting more. We need to see Piroe further up. I know he doesn't like that, but we need to see Joel Piroe further up the field. You know, when we see Nanto cut the ball across and Joel Piroe is nowhere near in our TV screen, at least that's a problem for me. He's a box scorer. He does that. Even if he's running in on the ball, his a majority of his goals are in around the box, not 6 yard, but in the box or just outside. And he's not in that role right now. So I would like to say Perot, yeah, yeah, Gavin, just play Perot at 9, just try it. I hear it, but Daniel, this is where some people are having a bit of a problem with Farke, with him being stubborn. And you know what it is with managers like Farke and even Bielsa before him. Sometimes they overthink things, and to the point where the simple solution is just too simple, so they try and convolute it. They try and make it more difficult. When sometimes it is Perot's a finisher. He's a better striker, play him a bit further forward. And he was talking about that today in terms of the expectations between differences between Swansea and Leeds. And I get that. But I don't think Joel Piroe's been playing advanced enough or missing enough chances to say that the pressure's too much for him at Leeds United. Because when we've seen him get a decent sight of goal on the main, his goal record suggests he's scoring goals for the team. But we'll see what happens tomorrow, people. We'll see what happens. Darren here saying, I also feel Farke had a few matches where he was outwitted. He was overconfident with his tactics and didn't respect the opponent. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about not respecting the opponent, Darren, but I kind of get what you're saying. But maybe he just underestimated them or thought that his way is gonna eventually win out, which it did against Norwich, but it didn't against Southampton and it didn't against Stoke. You know what I mean? So Andy here saying, yep, still questions with Farke, but you just need to learn from his mistakes. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned it after the Stoke game. His excuses or reasons for losing the game sounded very Norwich in the Premier League. It sounded very just, yeah, I mean, I didn't like that. I didn't like that against Stoke. I needed to hear a little bit more self accountability in that instance. And even in the press conference today, there wasn't really a lot of it today. He was talking more about the parallel universe where we win that game and he gets praised. But the fact is we didn't. We can't talk about ifs and maybes, if buts and maybes. You got to talk about what happened. And he was going for the other scenario. But hey, yeah, and I agree with this, Gavin, 100%. Rutter could find Piroe 10 times in every game, 100%. That's why I've always said Rutter he's not a main forward. He doesn't have that striker's instinct, which we've seen. But as a creative force and taking players out the game, he's the best. He's probably one of the best in the league, if not the best, with his skill set. So utilize him better. But look, if Piroe plays tomorrow, scores 2 goals from running from the center of midfield, I'm sure we won't complain. But it hasn't happened, has it? It hasn't. Um, let's have a look. John B saying, I'm loving KG Vision's positivity. Now I'm feeling semi confident. Man, the thing is, John, if you're not feeling confident in a home game against that Huddersfield team, then we got no chance, John. We might as well pack up and say, you know what, forget promotion this year. We'll try it another time. But I don't think anybody, and I repeat this, we didn't spend the money that we did. We didn't recruit Joel Piroe. We didn't spend $1 million plus on Jed Spence loan, get Joe Roden in to not get promoted. I just don't believe that. I just don't believe that to be the case. So get the points on the board, Daniel, and Leeds United tomorrow. We need the 3 points. It's imperative. I will be back tomorrow after the game. I don't think it's on TV in England. I'm not sure. I think it might have to be uh you know one of those jobs. But yeah, please hit the like on the video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I'll see you after the game tomorrow for the match reaction. Let's go, Leeds. 3 points. Let's catch that top 2. 3 points is a must. Peace out, people.